One of the blessings of doing a retreat like this with so many sessions is that we get to do a bunch of different practices. And I was thinking about doing a healing practice for this session. So, this could be healing on all kinds of levels. It could be physical, certainly. If there's any pain in the body, if there's relationships that could be healed, if there are internal relationships that could be healed, our mind, our thoughts, maybe connect with ourselves more. So, however, that might come for you today. And it could be out in the world as well. There's so much distress. One of the practices that Pema Chodron does is a practice of Tonglen, and it's a practice of breathing in the distress and breathing out comfort. So we'll do that a little bit later. We'll do some Tonglen. But for now, I'd like to do just kind of a regular relaxation practice. And in particular, really looking at anything that might need to be healed. So take a moment to just think about what that might be for you. And of course, you can kind of weave in and out with that as the practice goes on. It doesn't have to be the same thing for the whole practice. So, where in your life do you feel like you could use some healing energy? Notice what comes up. Could be for someone in your family who's hurt right now, a friend. So, for this kind of a practice, you could sit down, you could lie down, whatever you decide to do for position. Make sure that you're comfortable. You have something nearby to be warm if you need that. One thing is when we're cold, we often feel kind of tight, and that doesn't feel all that good. So, being warm enough can be very helpful in terms of relaxing. And bring your attention into your whole body from head to toes. When we've been doing these practices over a period of hours, we get some momentum going in the mind and the body and the breath. So when we tune in, we're not really starting from the place we might normally start from. We're probably starting from a more relaxed place. Perhaps there's more calm in the mind, perhaps not. It's a testament to how things come and go. Sometimes we have a lot of calm in the mind, and other times not. But even within that general trajectory of what comes and goes, when we're doing practice like this, most of us will have had some deeper moments of connection, of relaxation. And turn your attention to that for a moment. The most silence, quietness, stillness, most relaxed you felt, either during this retreat or during other times or practices. Anchor your attention to that for a moment. Just remember how that feels, what's going on in your body, your breath, your mind. And then notice your whole entire body from head to toes, including your arms and hands, your legs and feet. Notice the back of your body. And if you're lying down, how that is that it's connecting with the ground, the floor. If you're sitting, the points of contact will be a bit different. Maybe you feel your feet on the floor. Notice in your body as you scan if there's anything that you could allow to be a bit more comfortable, perhaps soften a muscle or rearrange something. And on a physical level, is there something that could use your attention in terms of healing? And if that's the case, let your attention go there. And there might be several places. We'll give this some time. Sometimes it's helpful to put a hand on the place that hurts, just to feel the warmth, to help to focus your attention. If it's an emotional hurt, it could be to put your hand on your heart. Notice your body and bring your attention and your focus to some place in your body that feels like it needs some attention, some healing energy. And tune in and notice the sensation in that part of your body. If there's pain, notice the details of that. Is it sharp or burning? Is it throbbing? Is it dull? There are a lot of different ways that pain shows up, so notice the particulars. Notice the exact location. And is this pain very specific or is it kind of radiate out? Does it have a boundary that's quite contained or is it very diffuse? And is this something that has a physical explanation? Or is it something that maybe is perhaps energetic, something to do with contraction or something to do with our experience and we've tightened up against something? And of course, there's no hard dividing line there. So it might be both. And with your attention in that location, we're going to give it a moment to see what it is that it's associated with. If you have an injury from falling, for instance, you would have the memory of that, perhaps a visual, the memory of the shock in your body. So notice what comes up for you, where your attention is drawn, the specifics of the energy or the feeling in your body. And what is associated with this? It could be fear. There could be thoughts about it like, I'm never going to get better. There could be some kind of regret or puzzlement, feeling of despair. There's all kinds of possibilities here. So let's give it a few minutes, really tune in. What is associated with this sensation in the body where your attention has been drawn? It feels like it's in need of some kind of healing. And with words or pictures, we can either tap on them, bring the picture up, or put the words into a form that you can see them in your mind's eye. We can either tap and bring our attention to the sensation and the sound of the tapping and away from the picture as you start to tap. Or we could put a frame around the picture and take our eyes in the space on the outside of the picture. Go clockwise a few times, counterclockwise a few times. We're just allowing whatever images arise from that area and having a look. What does that energy seem to want? Is there a sense of what it needs from you? And even if we're working with someone else's distress or pain, we can often feel that in our own body. It shows up somewhere in our body. So we could work with it that way too. And then let go of the words and pictures for a moment. You can always come back to them. And for right now, just focus on healing energy in that area. As you're paying attention, notice the energy itself. Some location in your body that's wanting your attention, that needs some healing. And then focus your attention there and give it what it's asking for. Send some good intention, some light or warmth right into that area. You could let it know that it's welcome. You're not trying to get rid of it. Really focus in on the healing energy that you can focus for that area, for that energy, that sensation. You might imagine that it's surrounded by light, and the light is permeating that whole area. And whatever it is that's been coming and going in the mind about it, just focus on where it is that it's showing up in your body. And put your attention there. And with this intention to heal, notice that. And then let that go and focus again on your whole entire body from head to toes. And notice your breath. Anchor your attention into your breath for a moment. Notice how your body moves. Notice how sometimes there's some relaxing that can happen that could help the breath to become more free. So we're just tuning into our body and noticing if there's an area where we need healing. And it might not be in our body, it might be a relationship, it might be someone we know is in pain and we're wishing them well. We're wishing for them to have an ease in their suffering. Or it might be that nothing in particular is coming up and we're just kind of relaxing and settling in. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. And we notice it in our own body. We notice where that energetic feeling is. We don't very often have something that needs healing that's just a thought. There's always some kind of a connection in the body, somewhere in the body where we feel that. And that's what we're working with. And then scan your body again and notice what else might be drawing your attention. You could work with the same part of your body if you want, the same issue. Or maybe there's something else that's showing up now. During the retreat and during daily life, you might have noticed there's a lot of anxious thinking or what if thinking. Maybe you'd like to heal that. Just notice your experience and let that come forward over the next minute or so. Notice your body, notice your energy. What comes to mind that needs healing? And then send that some healing energy. Just, it could be as simple as putting your attention on it. And where is it in your body that you feel that? And what are the associated thoughts? So if you're working with someone you care about who's in pain right now, for instance, the predominant way that it shows up might be thoughts about them or an image. And as you look at that, where do you feel that in your own body? Maybe you could focus in on your heart center even. Just hold them there. You could place a hand for the warmth and the connection. Or you could bring your attention to there without moving your body. See what that area needs. Sense into that. It's not so much of a thinking. Maybe there are images or memories that it would be good for you to know. Maybe it just needs to rest. And try not to get your mind involved, other than looking at pictures or words. And even then, it's more of a witnessing, seeing what is it that's coming from this energy? What do I need to know? And then having your attention on your whole body again. And our timing might not align perfectly. If you want to take more time with that, just let my voice go to the background. Do what feels right for you right now. And then let all of that move to the background again. Just rest in the physical body. Notice what your whole body feels like, head to toes. And we'll take a slow scan, seeing if we could soften and relax as we do. Starting with the head, the forehead, and the eyebrows. Notice your mouth and your tongue, the hinges of your jaw, your throat. The mechanism of speech. And bring your attention down from your throat to your neck, the sides of the neck and your shoulders. the back of the neck and the large muscles of your upper back between your shoulder blades. And notice your chest and your heart center. Notice your stomach and how your body moves with your breath. Now anchor your attention into your breath. A smooth, even diaphragmatic breath is so helpful. And we can anchor our attention to the present moment through our breath as well. The breath can be such an anchor. And bring to mind either one of the issues that came up for you or something else that you could work with in this practice of Tonglen. So it's a practice known in the Eastern traditions, yoga and Buddhism. It's a way of working with resistance to pain and suffering. I worked with it a lot several years ago when my son was misdiagnosed with cancer. And I could really tune in with all of the other people who had someone in their family, someone that they loved who had cancer. That's just an example of one thing that you could work with. It could be that you're really suffering with a deficiency story of I'm not lovable or I'm not worthy. And you know a lot of other people have that. You probably know a lot of people who have that particular story. Not a story so much as a belief. It's a belief that's being formed through our experience. And you know how much suffering comes from that. So take a moment to choose something. And we're going to work with ourselves. We're going to work with someone who's fairly neutral to us, someone who's close to us, and also with the broader world of a lot of other people who might be feeling the same thing. And it's quite counterintuitive to breathe in or take in someone else's pain. But any of you who are familiar with the welcome phrases, the thank you for rising, I love you, you're welcome to stay. It's a little bit similar to that in a way. So choose something that you'd like to work with. It doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 on the upset scale. It could be something smaller. And we start with ourselves. Tune into what it feels like for you right now to be working with this. This is something that's painful or causing suffering for you. And really feel it in your body. What are the images that might be coming up around it? What are the feelings, the sounds, the smells? And what would give you some relief from that? Maybe you can visualize your shoulders relaxing as you watch a movie or talking with a friend or going for a walk or something. So choose something that will give you some relief. And then tune into the feeling of it in your body. Really let yourself breathe that in. So on the in breath, you're tuning into the suffering. And then on the out breath, send yourself that relief. It could be a sense of relaxation and softness through your shoulders. So when you breathe in, focus again. Image, sounds, smells, really take it in. On the out breath, send yourself some relief. And see if you can keep this going breath after breath. Inhale, really feel into it. And then as soon as you're ready to exhale, let it go. Relax your shoulders, whatever relief you're going to send yourself. Inhale, bring it in. Exhale, let it go. And now we're going to do that with a friend in mind. Someone that you care about has a similar issue or the same kind of suffering. And bring them to mind, and also bring to mind what they might like to have for relief. Maybe they love to walk on the beach, or maybe they like a good cup of coffee or something. Bring to mind the situation and let that person's face be there. Whatever associations you have, memories, and really take that in on the inhale. And on the exhale, let it go. Send them some relief. Inhale, bringing it in. Exhale, let it go. So it's just 2 or 3 seconds. Bring it in. Really feel it. Exhale, let yourself relax and send them the relief from the suffering. Just visualize them, their face as they soften. Inhale, bringing it in, and then exhale again, sending them some relief. And then imagine that somebody that you're not very close to, but that you feel kind of neutral about, someone maybe at a store in your town or something like that, someone you know a little bit maybe, that they also have the same thing going on. Bring to mind that specific face, maybe the location. And there's some way that you know that they have this. Maybe you've observed it through their behavior, or someone's told you, they've told you. So let that evidence be there as you're breathing that in, and then send them out some relief. You don't know them very well, but we all know that people like to relax, and people like to feel cared about. Just let yourself focus on that. Inhale, really focus on the suffering that they're experiencing. And then exhale, send them some relief. And then send this out now for all beings everywhere. There's not really any individual suffering or pain that nobody else has ever experienced. We have our own unique flavor or experience of it. But if we broaden the context a bit, there are a lot of people around the world that are suffering from this right now in this moment. And breathe all of that in, whatever that comes in as an energy or visuals, all of the people in the world who are experiencing this right now and suffering in this way. And exhale, let that release. Send all of them an out breath of relaxation or softness, some kind of relief from the suffering. And several times do that. Inhale, really bring your attention to it. Exhale, let it go. Bring all of that suffering into your own body and then send out that relief. Let it dissolve. Inhale, exhale. Keep yourself really focused on the practice. This is for everyone, everywhere who's suffering from this right now. Notice how there are some commonalities between you and your friend, the neutral person, and everyone who's suffering from this. We have a common ground in our suffering. There are similarities with that. And breathe it in for yourself as well, and send yourself that relief as well as other people. And let the practice go. This is something that we could do on the spot if we're triggered by something. Just breathe it in, exactly contrary to our kind of usual way that we work with suffering. And then right away on the out breath, it doesn't take more than a few seconds. We're sending ourselves some relief. Or we're in a store and there's some kind of an altercation, a person with a child perhaps. And right away, we could breathe that in, really let ourselves notice what's going on, and then breathe them out some relief. Send something that will help to cool the situation, perhaps. And we might do something in the moment, or maybe not. Maybe a friendly glance or a smile would help. But that's not really the important part. The important part is to begin and to continue to work with these things that we push away. And it's so fast. It's just in on the in breath. Really sink your awareness into this. What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What's happening in your body? And then as soon as you finish breathing in, it's time to let it go. Send yourself whatever you need to feel better. Let's take a few more minutes just to sit with that process. There might be something left over from when you were working with healing energy that you could return to. You might want to continue with this practice of breathing it in and breathing out relief. Or you might want to rest from all of it. Just focus in on your body, your breath. Let everything else move to the background and just rest with it. And when we're working with those practices, notice that we don't get stuck on breathing it in. We turn it around right away with every single breath. We get some relief. And we really attend to our energy. We welcome it in on the in breath, every single in breath. And slowly scan your body. See if there's something now that needs your attention. Notice your forehead and your eyebrows. Notice the mouth and the jaw, the hinges of your jaw. Notice the back of your neck, your shoulders, the large muscles of the back between the shoulder blades. Is there anything in the back of your body there that could use some focused attention for a moment? If it feels physical, we could really relax that area. Every time you breathe out, let it soften. And sometimes words and pictures will come up when we're focusing on a sensation or an area, and that's okay. We could look at those. Lots of time. Notice your heart center energetically, your stomach, your gut. Notice if there's anything that needs some attention. And even if there's something that's not so obvious, We can always focus on relaxation and we can always focus on the breath, even without anything specific in mind. Those two practices are very healing. It's relaxing our body, softening the breath. That sends a powerful signal to our nervous system that it's safe. And continue the practice as you move to do so. Continue with the relaxation. If you want to get up and move around, we'll check in again in about a half an hour. In the meantime, just enjoying the silence, however it is that it turns up. Sometimes it's a bit busy first, and that's okay too. So bringing our attention back to the group, back to the practice that we did. We were working with noticing what needs healing and putting our attention onto that area of the body, of the energy of that, the words. And after we finish a practice, often there will be some residual assimilation of what was happening in the practice. Maybe we went back to some part of it. Maybe it just kind of settled in as we took our attention away from the direct practice. So tune in again now to your experience as you tune into your body. Notice if there's anything that seems to want your attention right now. And if there is, then just give it your attention. Notice how it feels, what's going on in the thoughts. The practice of Tonglen is an interesting one because it's so counterintuitive. And I also find it's quite busy. It's hard to bring all that in and really pay attention just in 3 or 4 seconds of the in breath and then turn it around into the out breath. Yeah, there's something about the practice that feels very rich as well, to me anyway. So you could also just reflect back on your experience with that practice. Does it make a difference to know and to send out relief to someone that you know, someone that's neutral, and to know that there's people all over the world right now that are experiencing that same kind of suffering? And there's no right or wrong answer to that. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. I think one of the things that it does for me is it normalizes what it is that's going on. It's not so much my fault that I'm having suffering around something. It's something that's pretty universal. And somehow that makes it a bit easier to work with. So notice your experience, notice your reflections on your experience as well. We're getting ready to go into our last session of this retreat. So I'm noticing that there's things coming up about that too. So when we come back together in 15 minutes, I'd like for us to do a little practice of that, noticing the whole of the retreat. And at that point, we'll also share. So you can break silence if you like. So you can share what your feelings were about the retreat, what you learned, what you enjoyed, all of that. It would be lovely to share that with people. All right, we'll see you in about 15 minutes.